Well, this is awesome. I want to take a quick moment here and actually welcome anyone who's joining us, seeing this online. If they're seeing the recording, I should say, please always, the door is, as we say, you are welcome here. You're welcome to come to this location. We're at 2777 Racetrack Road in St. John's, Florida, which is right outside Jacksonville, Florida. If you're not from around here, I didn't know that till I knew that, so I hope you know that. And I hope know that the door is wide open. Come on in, feel the love, the energy, the sense of coming home that this place represents. Let's just take a moment and say that affirmation again. As we just said so many times, we know it right away. I am as God created me. Power in that. Well, Noah, a philosophy professor, at one point stood in front of his group, and he had a big glass jar. He just didn't say a word. He just set it on the table in his room, started to fill it with rocks. Once he had it up to the brim, he asked all the students if the jar was full, and they said, yes, looks full. So then he picked up a box of small pebbles, put them in there, shook it up, and they intermingled with the rocks. And they asked again, so now, is the jar full? Yes. Okay. And he took some sand, very fine, that wonderful beach sand, just poured it in there, and then it was packed. And he said, so now, is it full? And they said, yes, the glass is full. He said, so now, since I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. So and the rocks mean the important things. Your loved ones, your partners, your sons and daughters, your parents, your friends, people in your lives, all those persons, your health, children, all the things that are truly vital, that if everything else was swept away and you still had those, you still had something of the real substance. And the pebbles, those are other things that are important, that have meaning. You know, where your home, your workplace, your automobile, those things you need. And then the sand, that's just everything else. That's just the small stuff. That's the periphery. So know that if you did this in reverse, if you put the sand in first, if you poured nothing but the small stuff, just the niggling little bits and pieces that don't have as much, but they pull our time, they occupy our time. If you fill the jar with that, you can't fit any of the other things. You definitely can't fit the big important things in. Even the minor things, they just get pushed out. And this is the same in your life. If you spend all your energy on the small things, it's hard. You won't have room for the things that truly matter. So to take those times, to do the importance, to play with your children, to take your partner out to dinner, you always have time to do the other things, but if you just take care of the rocks first, take care of the big things, the important things, and the rest, in the big scheme of things, is just shifting sand. So what really does matter most? Well, I always like to look at different philosophies on it. One of the persons that I see these points, I guess, is Abraham Maslow. He has a hierarchy of needs you might be familiar with. He talks about how they build from the bottom, if you have to meet one for the others. And the first is a physiological need. That is where there's the most basic needs. That's like food, water, air, sleep, absolute minimum. And then if those are met, then you are more prepared for the ideas of safety. Once those are met, the need for safety and security become prominent, such as personal security, financial security, or health and well-being. Once that, it's in, as you'll see, and I think realize, they're not a straight line. You don't always have this met and this met, but there's certain things need to be in place. At least that's what it appears to us. The next is love, a sense of belonging, that you seek to fulfill your needs for love or connection between others. That we don't always use the term love, but really is those simple connections, those simple smile when a friend or an acquaintance comes to you, that sense of belonging, just like here, being a part of a group, that sense of feeling that at home. And then your level, that brings up the need for self-esteem or confidence and a sense of achievement. And when those are all really, you get into that, the sweet spot, I like to call it, they call it self-actualization. And that is that a need that you really want to bring out your full potential, that your personal growth, all that in fulfillment. But so that's a one man's idea, and I think it has some merit because it's true. If you're, and you can shift from one to the other. You can be doing great, have great artistic ideas about something, and then your house gets a flood. You are going to go back into the basic, more survival mode. And I think that's why some conversations with people are different, because each person has those different things at different times. But as our affirmation says, I am as God created me. So let's look at it from a unity perspective. In unity, we believe what matters most is our conscious awareness of that divine presence that is within us, and is that our active expression of that presence is what comprises our daily life. That awareness of God as the source, the substance, the very life within us. If we go from that perspective, it transforms everything. And in this paradigm, pyramid, if you will, spiritual awareness is at the heart of it is that truth that God is not a distant being, but that living spirit that is within each and every all of creation. Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, emphasized that we are spiritual beings in the midst of having a human experience, and the greatest purpose is to awaken that truth through prayer and meditation, affirmative thinking. We deepen that spiritual understanding, and through it, we open ourselves to divine guidance. And as it is not I, but that Christ within that does our work. And knowing that when we are truly expressions of God, we live with a greater peace, a power, and purpose. So next, I think love in action. Definitely one of the big things we want in our jar. Unity teaches that love is the greatest healing and harmonizing power in the universe. But love is not merely a feeling, it is a principle, it is an action. It calls us to act with compassion, with forgiveness, with kindness, with integrity. Myrtle Fillmore, the other co-founder, lived that truth. She lovingly affirmed life, wholeness, and divine in everything and everyone. And as her quote is, love is the great harmonizer and healer. At the heart of all healing, whether it be physical, emotional, is love. That action, the actions that one for another, we think in love. And with that power, it is, I will stand by what they say, it's the most powerful thing. So we ask in every relationship, as we look at it, if we can take a step back sometimes, especially when we're not feeling maybe loving in the most sense. But no, am I being love? Am I seeing through the eyes of love, through the eyes of the Christ? And know that our thoughts matter in all things. Unity is founded on that principle, that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. That's why we think, what we believe, what we imagine, all these things matter deeply. Shapes our very experience. As we choose our life-affirming thoughts, we ground in truth. We bring greater harmony, greater health, greater prosperity. So know, as they say, as a man, think as so is he. That to unity, it matters not so much what the outer world says, what these other ideas are, but it's how do we respond from that center, from the spiritual truth, that point of power that is us, connecting with the truth of the universe. So I think this unity takes the script I talked to that Maslow created and flips it. That rather than self-actualization and esteem, those senses, they're really first. They're not really the top of the thing. They're really, with spiritual awareness, we want to come from that space. We don't have to seek self-esteem. We intrinsically are children of God. We have it. we release those outer appearances that feel other than that and know the truth about ourselves and about each other, that we are connections. We are Christ incarnate in human flesh. We are that spirit coming forth for each of us. No two, so those really go to that. And as love really kind of is in the center of either one, it is the heart of all of it. That love, power goes with it. And the thoughts, when we take our thoughts and we keep our based in truth, if we're coming from that truth, that sense of God, that sense of light in the situation, then the basic needs, those things that seem, as the scripture says, put God first, and all these I will give unto you. And that's really the thing. It's like once you, put God first, like they say, if you're walking down walking on uneven ground, if you can focus on a solid point, you can tend to be steady and be connected. And that's the same thing. If that solid point is God, that you look past the other stuff. Other things, you get the tools come to you, the mind is open to it. If we keep staring down at the ground, looking at the mud, that's all we see. But it's like, no, there's a way up, there's a way out. And God is always there with us. So in all this, so what does matter most? I think that remember that it is not an external circumstance that concerns us. It is God is within us. God is with us in any circumstance, more powerful than any circumstance. And always, in each situation, to choose love over fear. Because fear it's not hate, isn't the opposite of love, it's fear. Fear is what all things that are apart from the light are draw from. But know the truth that you are loved, you are loving, you are born to love. That's why we're here. And that as we think, we speak, we act from that awareness of that divine identity, we can live our truth, not just know it. Let's say our affirmation a few more times, that I am as God created me. Again, I am as God created. What is true? I am as God created me. Is it really true? I am as God created me. How true is it? I am as God created me. That is true truth. So always in the world that appears distracting, remember, unity reminds us answers always are coming from within. What matters most is awakening to that, who we really are, beloved expression of God, living our truth moment by moment. When I live from that Christ, what matters most is love, truth, that divine presence that guides our way. We know, sweet Spirit, we open our hearts to that presence. We let the words we hear today, we see them awakening that truth, anchored in love. And remind us that truly matters most, ready, receptive, and willing. So let's take that sense of knowing who we are, let's take it into prayer. Let's begin by joining me in singing, When I Center in Love, I Align with God. When I center in love, I align with God. When I center in love, I align with God. As I center in love, I align with God, with God, with God. As I center in love, I align with God. As I center in love, I align with God. As I center in love, I align with God, with God, with God, with God. centered in that pure light. We release, we settle in our space, we release tension, anything in our body, and focus on our heart. Feel that heart expanding to know who we are. Beautiful, eternal beings of light. Folded in love, in joy, in beauty. Grateful that all things are in our connection with that love, that true point of power, that point of connection to all the other things, all the other beings in this universe. So we feel that presence. We know any thought, anything that comes to mind, that we allow it to just gently be, to gently drift and feel, know that love, whatever that question, whatever that situation that comes to your mind, know that love is the answer. Love, truth, the wholeness of God enfolding you as you. Feel that presence in every part of your body. Every crevice of your mind is filled with truth, with health, with wellness and wholeness. So embrace that love and be embraced by it. As we take a moment, we feel it and hold it and know it. Just taking a moment or two in the silence. In the silence. So as we know, our mind and heart travel through time and space eternally in beauty and light and love, we bring that knowing right here, right to our space, to our physicalness, to our world, knowing that every connection with God lifts us all, that we all are walking each other home with love, with truth, with light. Grateful, knowing that we are exactly as God created us, that beautiful, pure being of truth, of love, of light. We hold that, we stay in that, and we feel it in every part of our body, soul, and spirit. So in this and all things, we are grateful, and we say thank you, thank you, thank you, God.
So thank you, Bill, for that insightful talk. And you had me laughing when you were talking about flipping Maslow's theory upside down. Ever since I walked into the door here, it's flipped my whole understanding of the world upside down. So what a gift. And who are we really? And who do we pretend to be? So thank you, as always, a new lesson for the week. And now it's time in our service where we put ourselves in the flow of circulation. The law of circulation is as we give, we shall receive. Pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing into our lap. giving and receiving become one. So this morning we are invited to support our spiritual community through the law of giving and receiving. And I invite you to take a moment and allow the love and the joy and the peace of God to move through and in you, blessing you and the financial gifts that you are giving. And special thanks to those of you who have signed up for reoccurring donations. They truly help us. And whether you give electronically, by check, cash, credit card, I invite you to take your offering to your heart and affirm with me the offertory blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am richly blessed. Thank you, God. Have a lot of things going on the rest of the month, so mark your calendars. On Wednesday, the 23rd at 7 p.m., join us for a mid-year burning bowl ceremony. It's a good time to course correct, and renew, and make up some new goals if you've already accomplished all those old ones. Also, on the 16th, join Reverend Yvonne for Empowering Conversations. That's Wednesday the 16th at 7 p.m. for an hour of insight and connection. It's a lot of fun, so come on out and connect with us. All the women are invited to join the Women of Unity on Tuesday the 15th at 6:30 p.m. here in the sanctuary. And everyone is also invited to join us as our ongoing Course of Miracles study group that meets at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Sunday morning right in the back. I'd now like to invite everyone to stand and join me in saying the prayer of protection as an I am statement. The light of God surrounds us. The light of God. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. And together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yeah, God.